Greetings once again. This is Imuna Yisrael Solonomics 101. This one is on the go. You already know. Before you try to build, it's not Periscope. The baby's just like, what's up Periscope? This one is not Periscope. This one is straight Solonomics 101. They try to keep up with all that mommy does. So, this one is before you try and build, learn the basics. I can't help but to comment hello on just some stuff, just some feedback, just some observation, just some, love. Basics, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Being a stay-at-home mom, right? And taking the responsibility of teaching your child how to read, it becomes clearly very apparent that the expectation of them to read, Shallow, are you whistling? The expectation of them to read is unrealistic if I never taught them the alphabet, whatever language you're trying to read. If I never taught them consonants, if I never taught them the sounds that these things make, how in the world am I going to expect them to read? If we take this approach, if you ever pass by a construction, because I'm like a person who likes to take spiritual concepts and try to see if I can see it in my reality. And so, have you ever passed a construction place in which it is that people are trying to build? But if you notice, they don't just buy the lot and start building. Depending on what they're building, they have to evaluate the lay of the land, if it's a rocky terrain or if it's sandy or whatever the case may be. They have to till the ground, they have to level it off if there's a steep hill. There's a whole lot of pre-planning, prep work that needs to go into building. And the thought process is, I'm just going to throw up some makeshift house on some jacked up property and get all up in arms when it doesn't, stand up. So how is this all? Are you rambling? Because I'm driving, so you might get a little bit of rambling today. But I'm not really rambling, so stick with me. If somebody is a farmer, which a lot of us has been disconnected from the land, so some of these principles are like out the window. But if the farmer is going to farm a certain crop, he has to know what kind of land he has and whether or not that land is beneficial or is going to be able to bring the nutrients that crop needs. Not only that, if it's virgin land, meaning it's never been farmed before, or if it's overly farmed land, meaning it's never had any rest, so it's lacking nutrients, all of that assessment goes into the building process. It's the pre-planning phase. So it's like, I hear nothing but building, but I don't hear nothing but no repairing. Like, I hear reparations, and I heard somebody say the other day, money's not going to solve the problem. It sure isn't, because there was a space in time, many spaces in time, where people put together money, but a fool in their money shall soon depart. I'm not calling anybody foolish, but if we don't know, we could just look at, celebrities. If you don't know what to do with your money, what good is it for you? It's not really going to be beneficial because you're going to be broke. You understand what I'm saying? So the pre-planning page, although we might have the temptation to shortcut the repairing, to shortcut the rehabilitation, in that you're going to learn certain things. And we're having expectations, and I may have spoken about this before. Our expectation for broken people to operate normally is unrealistic. It means that we ourselves have not done the internal work to understand what is really needed in order for us to build. A lot of people like to exclude the spirituality of rebuilding. At the same time, those who came against you use the level of spirituality to break you down. So if you don't understand that you are a being that operates spiritually, emotionally, and physically, and everything else up in all the E's up in between there, and you don't understand yourself in that capacity, and you're going to try to come together to really build based on the number that has been done on our people in diaspora. Maybe, and we keep comparing ourselves. What about the Chinese? What about this people? And what about the Japanese? And what about the East Indians? And they could do it. The comparison is not even. It's not even a comparison. Because they didn't go through what you went through on the magnitude and the level of what you went through. They didn't go through the psychological warfare that you went to. Here's the thing, common stuff. If we want respect, give respect. It's common, but it's not that common. You know, if the person looks like you, you're less apt to respect them. The same people who are crying for unity be the same people that don't display common decency. So if we want to keep it real, we're going to have to look in the mirror. Because if we point outside all day long, the only thing is when we give outside of you all of that much attention, then you are going to overlook the reality that there are many things. Integrity. Money cannot buy integrity. You have to be an integral person. You have to be a trustworthy person. We're talking about economics and building, and you can't be trusted to do small things, but yet still people supposed to trust you with thousands and hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars? Accountability. I heard somebody speak about it the other day. You don't have accountability. No one could tell me nothing. No one could reprove me. How in the world are you going to build anything? Everybody has a level of accountability that's able to sustain a structure. If you go into a store and that store has a policy, that's a level of accountability. That's saying that for my service or product, I am guaranteeing this. And if I don't do this, then you have the right to do X, Y, and Z. And you go through the levels of what you're going to do in order to get recourse, in order to get justification or some kind of to get your matter dealt with. I can't find a word right now, too much concentrating going on. But the point of the matter is, if our people are not accountable to anybody, no one can reprove you, and the minute someone steps on your toe, you're ready to, deface them. What's that gonna do? I'm just saying. So when we want to look outside, and I talk about this often on the show, one of the shows that I co-host on, and if we want to look outside, that's cool. You want to identify the issues, that's also cool. But what's not cool is not taking the amount of time that you do looking outside, not to check your own self and your own behavior. And as soon as someone that looks like you says that, it's like it all breaks out. So basically, to sum it up, basics, the wisdom in basics. Learn the letters before you try to put them together. Children, I teach them sight words. Children learn the sight words. On sight, they know what that is. But if they see it out of context, this is what we're doing. We're learning sight words. We're not really learning how to read in the sense of building. We're learning sight words. Oh, that's what that is. That's what that is. But if I took it out of context, or that sight word, and put it in, and tell you to explain, probably couldn't. If I then told you and put it in a bigger word, probably couldn't tell me, because phonetically, we have not learned to put it all together. So we have to do this thing for ourselves first. We have to show and prove in your family next. Show and prove in your relationship. Some of our relationships are formed when we didn't know any better. And when we grow in our consciousness, maybe our partner is not growing in that consciousness. So to a level, there's a level of separation to the outside world. It may look like, what in the world? But even in relationships, everybody's not going to grow at the same time. We did not come here. I have twins, right? But they still was born one by one. So every soul is accountable for their own self at the end of the day. And this is what this is about. Ask yourself, what is this about? Because I see people thinking that it's only about whatever classification you came here or you were born as. And that's only part of the puzzle. Because each and every soul that manifested in this place, if you don't know your purpose, then you will squander your time here on earth fighting the wrong battles. And not taking the time that you should be taking to elevate your mind and show that you have become elevated. Show it and understand that when you become that person, people will be attracted to you. When you put that time into perfecting and elevating yourself and your mind and your thoughts and your deeds and purging out the impurities of bad mind, that's going to be my job. Bad mind, which is enviousness, covetousness, greed. These are all the things that are a human attribute. Not just, and one nation might They might have it to the max, but this is human attributes that come into when you come into this flesh. And your job, our job, my job is to learn how to govern that. So when you go outside, it's not just your words. When somebody says, hey, how is this person? Then whatever the feedback is or that's coming back should be representative of how you live your life in the earth. We don't live in a bubble. We don't live in a vacuum. And if we go about just thinking that it's just this linear existence, it's really not. It's on so many levels because we operate on so many levels. So let's get the basics. A, ba, ha, da. You know, what sound does the A make? And some of the basics is communication. Some of the basics is common respect. Some of the basics is reprove your brother or your sister, but do it in love. And if they're not able to accept that reproof at this point in time, give them some space. But you still do what you do. You don't come down out of your space of operation to come now and defend. Yeah, sorry about that. So basically, if you have children, or your children are grown, or you have family, you know, invest your time in yourself, your growth. Invest your time in your immediate family, because a lot of times we're looking for validation outside because we haven't gotten it inside. And so you see the neglect of your immediate responsibility. And it's not just physically or financially, it's mentally and emotionally for you to be vested in the individual that you and someone else came together to procreate. And you see it so many times in the leaders. If you look at the personal lives of the leaders, those who have come before, who have done many things, and I just want to say that too. A lot of stuff has been tried, and I've been spending a lot of time looking at the history of what has happened in times past and why it didn't work. Because that's important, because we're reinventing the wheel. A lot of things have been tried, but it would be redundancy to continue to do the same things that were happened before and not evaluate or go and investigate why it didn't work. I'm just saying. So, you know, it's not cut and dry. Oh, I see a problem, and you know, some wisdom and some basics. It's good to apply to the situation. So I ain't gonna go like forever long, but the point of the matter is, you know, basics. You can't build without basics. Okay, look like we're almost here. I'm about to drop off some books and mail some books. But the people who are looking for saviors, like this person's gonna have all the answers. I mean, come on, how many times did we fall for the okie doke? You know, this person's gonna have all the answers, and that person's gonna have all the answers, and they didn't give us all the answers, so now I'm upset with them and they're a failure. How in the world do you think one person or one group is gonna solve all of these long-standing intergenerational issues? That's unrealistic from the get-up. So we as the people, everyone needs to raise their consciousness, because when only the pastor raises his consciousness, he becomes a pimp. And the people become, you know, the person who gets pimped. He changed the way in which we relate to our reality, which means accept the reality for what it is. No justification, no nothing, just what it is. That's one basic. Acknowledge the reality, and it doesn't mean place blame on this one or that one, but the reality is X, Y, and Z. See, blame is trying to explain why it's X, Y, and Z. Accepting the reality is to say, hey, come to terms with this is what it is. What and why is two different things, and oftentimes when we try to say what, we just mix Y up in there, and it's not clear. If I drive in my car right now, what's happening? Oh, I hear a sound. Why? I don't know. Maybe I gotta go to the mechanic. Maybe I gotta get a diagnostic. Maybe I could check myself. But before I can say, we say, why is it making that sound? What sound? You see? What precedes why? We try to get to the why before we acknowledge the what. Oh, it's making that sound. What's happening? It sounds like semantics, but it really isn't. What is happening with the people? And then we're gonna get to why, what took place. And for me, I just want to put my 2 cents in there. Basically, a tree doesn't have one root. Once that root is in the ground, it splits into so many different root systems that this is a multi-leveled issue. So let's start with the basics. Till next time, my name is Amuna Yisrael. I got to go before the babies, get basic on me. So, this is Solonomics 101. 1.
And please, know before you go.